a man that needs no luck and really needs no introduction, but we'll give him one anyway. Ross Benjamin, our guy, our handicapper, wagertalk.com, joining us here on the Sam Bourquin Show, 1310 WDPN, to break down the big football games this weekend and put a little jingle in your pocket before the holidays. Ross, the boss, welcome to the show. How we feeling today, my man?
Happy holidays, Sam. I'm feeling great, man. Everything went well. So, man, I've had a rough year medically, like I said last week. I'm ready to move on, man. Got a positive report, no cancer. So
good for you, Ross.
So we're good, man. We're good to go. Let's go, Sammy boy.
Good, man. We've been throwing prayers your way, and I'm so happy to hear that. And let's put that stuff in the rearview mirror and let's go. Yeah. Let's go. Let's win. Here we go. All right. Holy smokes. NFL this weekend. We've got college football playoffs this weekend. And Ross, the boss, is where you want to go. Ross Benjamin, wagertalk.com. We'll be putting up all the goodies for you, graphics for your screen to get you all set for the big weekend. All right, here we go. It's win or go home for college football, and we start off with a banger on Friday. Oklahoma, Alabama. How about this one? Boomer Sooner -1.5 against Roll Tide. Ross, what do we got?
Let me start by saying I don't know how you take Alabama over Notre Dame in the selection committee. It's a discussion for another day, I guess. But
yes, agreed.
You're looking at an Alabama team. I think everybody, they're in the SEC. They did lose to South Florida badly. Got outplayed badly anyway in the season opener. I don't know. Notre Dame loses 2 games by a combined 4 points against 2 top 10 teams, and they're not in. Anyway, Alabama's in, and that's what we're going to talk about. So, look,
you're not bitter. Don't worry about it.
The Crimson Tide lost to Oklahoma just a few weeks back, 23-21. But let's really look inside the numbers there, folks. Alabama outgained Oklahoma in that game by nearly 200 yards. So it's the Oklahoma came away with a win thanks to a defensive touchdown, another short field that created a touchdown as well. I don't think we're going to see the same scenario play out here. I know I just criticized Alabama just now, but now I'm looking at a 1-game situation. Yeah. And in my opinion, other than the 2 group of 5 schools, okay, in terms of the Power 4, actually the 2 group of 5 schools ain't bad defensively, especially James Madison. But Oklahoma is the lowest rated team in terms of defensively in this whole 12-team field. And I think a lot of people I'm sorry. I take that back. Not Oklahoma. Texas A&M is. We'll get to them later. But having said all that, it's still Oklahoma to me is listless offensively, and I don't trust their quarterback material. And that's where I was going with that. And I trust, even though he struggled a bit of late, I trust Ty Simpson a lot more. So I'm going to go with the Alabama Crimson Tide here on the road to gain their revenge over the Oklahoma Sooners, and then they'll get put out of their misery in a week after that.
There he is, Ross Benjamin, wagertalk.com. He's got Alabama catching 1.5 against Oklahoma. We're going to move off of this one. I really like the under here, Ross. Do you have a lean either way just for fun?
Yeah, I mean, I could see why you would like the under. Alabama's played 8-1 to the under this year against SEC teams. Oklahoma's 6-2 to the under against SEC teams. The only hesitancy I would have, Sam, is because they've lowered this number so much.
I know.
Where it's hovering around the 40 mark, you know. And we saw the first matchup 23-21, and we saw Oklahoma scored 23 points, even though they only had a little over 200 yards of total offense. So, and then also the fact that Alabama can't run the ball. So they're, and I can't imagine they're going to run the ball with a huge amount of success. So they're going to be pass heavy. That's what would scare me away. But I could see why anybody can make the case for the under.
Ross Benjamin, our guest, wagertalk.com. That's wagertalk.com. All right, Ross, there's 3 playoff games on Saturday. Not the sexiest list, except for the opener, which I'm trying to figure out why this game isn't being played in prime time, but what do I know? Miami of Florida, Texas A&M. It's a nooner. Aggies -3.5.
It's all about the U, Sammy boy. It's all about the U.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I mean, I finally get to make my point that I was about to make in the other game on Texas A&M. They are the lowest rated defense, in the field. You look at some of their games this year. I mean, they win 45-42 against Arkansas and give up over 500 yards. They barely get by South Carolina 31-30 in a miracle comeback in the second half at home. And they give up to an anemic Gamecocks offense 388 yards in that game. They play Notre Dame. They get by 41-40. And the Fighting Irish put up 440 yards against them. And then there's two other games they gave up 373 yards or more. So they're very vulnerable defensively. And you know what? Miami, they got a new lease on life because they were unsure whether they're going to make it. Now they're there.
Right.
And I think, they come in on a 4-game win streak. Their only loss is 26-20 in overtime at SMU. And then they were upset by Louisville 24-21 in a game that they were hampered by turnovers. They were -3 in the turnover differential. If Miami protects the football in this game, they have the better defense. And let's not forget the one intangible, Carson Beck, their quarterback. Mm-hmm. He has big game experience from his time at Georgia. And the sophomore quarterback from Texas A&M, whose name escapes me right at the second. But having said that, a real good quarterback, but you can't replace experience in big games. And I think that will come to fruition in this contest, as well as the Miami defense having an edge over their counterparts on the other side.
All right, so Ross is liking the Canes +3.5 against Texas A&M. That's the noon game on Saturday. Ross, before we get to the next two, let everybody know about the Weekend Warrior package and how they can get directly to you and get those picks.
Yeah, Weekend Warrior package, $49, folks. It now includes my college basketball, NBA, and NFL and college football. So $49. And that includes my 5% best bets, which individually sold at $35 a piece. The best bet on the board is my Weekend Warrior package at $49. And also, folks, got a great special going on in my 365-day all-access pass. And I probably should have sent it over to Ryan, our producer, on this, but the link for that is wt.buzz/Ross365. That's $1,188 for an entire 365 days of all sports that I put out. It amounts to $99 per month, folks. That's wt.buzz/Ross365.
All right. Ross Benjamin, wagertalk.com. There's a look at that Weekend Warrior package, and make sure you get in on that. Ross is hot. All right. Tulane and Ole Miss, the Rebels down in the Grove are laying 17.5. Ross, I can see maybe Tulane jumping out to a 7-0 lead and then just getting molly-whopped. What are your thoughts on Ole Miss and the Green Wave?
Yeah, I don't see much changing. I mean, they played earlier in the year at Ole Miss. Ole Miss wins 45-10. They outgained them in that contest by a really wide margin. I know Ole Miss had over 500 yards of offense. I want to say by nearly 300 yards, 548-282. So what's that? 266 yards. They dominated the game, and I don't know what's changed between now and then, other than Lane Kiffin being gone, that would make anyone think that this result is going to be anything different. I mean, look, Tulane 10-2 on the year. They have 5 wins by 7 points or fewer, Sam, or 4 wins, against teams like South Alabama, East Carolina, not a bad team, but not on a national scale, Army, right, and Memphis, okay? So, and they're going against an Ole Miss team that, as much as they're high-powered offensively, they're run-first offense. So if they get the lead especially, it could get ugly. You know what, Sam? I hope Ole Miss wins a national championship only because I think that Lane Kiffin is the biggest buffoon in all of college football.
He is a weasel. He is definitely a weasel.
He's everything that, you talk about these kids with the NIL money. What is this guy set a good example or no?
Yeah.
He hasn't won a national championship yet. He opts out of going to the college football playoffs with the first chance to win a national championship.
Yeah.
Yet these schools keep signing him the big money.
It's really bizarre because there's that old saying, show me what you've won or show me what he won. He hasn't won anything, Ross, but he continues to be like this golden child of coaches for college football. It's really kind of hard to explain.
Yeah, I guess a lot of it has to do with his offensive genius, which he's proven to have. I mean, I won't take that away from him.
Sure.
But in terms of being a head coach and the CEO of the company, he hasn't shown that he can get you to the promise. Now, he did it this year. They're at the promised land, right? The college football play. And then you take off for another school to try to be a hero at LSU. I hope he fails miserably there. Sorry, LSU fans. It's not against you. I just don't care for Lane Kiffin whatsoever.
Yeah, Ole Miss, Tulane, that's the 3:30 game. The late night game, James Madison, Oregon. Again, I don't think there's going to be any drama here. The Ducks 21.5 at Autzen Stadium.
Yeah, the only thing I would say, the difference between James Madison and Tulane is I like the fact that James Madison's defense is so good. Now, having said that, I didn't wake up yesterday. I've watched college football all year long, and I know that James Madison has not played an offense as dynamic with as much athleticism and speed as Oregon. I get all that. But this is still a defense that allowed 15.8 points per game and less than 250 yards per contest. And how about this? 4.1 yards per offensive play. That's getting it done defensively. And the other part of the equation for them defensively is I looked at the one game they played against a prominent opponent, and that was Louisville. Mm-hmm. And they held the Cardinals to around 250 yards of total offense in that game, if I'm not mistaken. You see the 28 points the Cardinals scored, but I think one was a defensive interception return. Another one, they recovered a fumble on the 4-yard line. So there's some intangibles there. Oregon, everybody talks about their offense, and everybody gives a lot of attention to their offense, and rightfully so, okay? But I think what gets overlooked with the Oregon Ducks is their defense. It gets a very strong schedule this year, 14.8 points per game allowed, 251.6 yards per contest. I'm going to go under here, Sam. I'm going to go Oregon and James Madison under the total of 47.5. James Madison cannot get into a track meet with Oregon if they have any hope whatsoever. But even having said that, this could be a blowout. Oregon could win this game 31-7, 31-3. It's still going to go under the total.
I like it. Ross Benjamin, there he is, wagertalk.com. You can check him out Thursdays, 4:35 here on the Sam Bourquin Show, 1310 WDPN. Don't forget about Ross the Boss, his Weekend Warrior package. We'll put those graphics up again here for you. He is on fire. Take advantage, especially this time of the year. It's Ross Benjamin from wagertalk.com. All right, NFL. We're getting down to the nitty gritty now. We got a couple of weeks to go. There's a lot on the line in a couple of these games this weekend. Tonight's a beast. Seattle and the Rams up in the Great Northwest, 8:15. Don't forget, everybody, this is an Amazon Prime game tonight. Again at 8:15. Hey, these are two of the top dogs in the NFC. Ross, what do you like tonight? What do you think?
Yeah, I gave out a free pick on Wager Talk TV earlier this week on the Rams, but I think the more I dove into this game, I think the way to go here is the under. I think that both of these defenses are outstanding. The Rams put up big offensive numbers. Seattle certainly is capable of putting up big offensive numbers, and they have. But I think this is one of those close to the vest games, a battle for a division champion. And I think this one goes right down to the wire, and I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair in doing so. So I think the under 42.5 might be the way to go in this contest.
I like it. Ross Benjamin, wagertalk.com. Goofy schedule this weekend. There's a couple of games Saturday. The one I will ask your opinion on, the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. That's 8:20 Saturday night. I guess we better jump on the Bears before they move to Gary, Indiana. Ross, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, or they play at Northwestern's new stadium, one or two. Anyway, yeah, you know what? I'm going to look at the total here again, and look, folks, it's not a cop out when you look at the total, because if you can't find value in the side and you look at the total and find value in the total, it's only smart wagering if you do that. So, having said that, the Bears, look, 5-1 at home this year, averaging nearly 28 points per game. Green Bay had a huge loss for Green Bay last week, losing Micah Parsons for the year defensively. And the last 3 games, they've gone over the total, 54.7 points per game. Their last 6 games on the road this year, 6-0 to the over, close to 59 points per game. And the Bears have scored 21 points or more in 6 of their last 7. They've scored 24 points or more in all 6 of their home games this season. And the Bears, don't forget, best team in the NFL at turning you over. So look for them to create a short field or two in this game for their offense as well. I like this game to go over the total, and that total is, let's see here, it's in 46.5.
46.5. Yep, 46.5. There it is. Ross Benjamin, wagertalk.com. Get a hold of Ross. He will make you some money coming up here this weekend. You get the Weekend Warrior package. Also, some other great offers. We'll put those graphics back up on the screen. It's Ross Benjamin, wagertalk.com. All right, Sunday's slate. Who really wants to win in the NFC? When we speak of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Carolina Panthers, my man Baker is, I don't know, he's just missing it right now. I'm not sure what's going on. They've been beat up with injuries. Carolina's been kind of up and down. This is a weird one. Bucks laying 3 on the road in Charlotte.
Tampa Bay is supposed to win this division. Carolina is well ahead of schedule to be in this position this late in the year. I just think just for that factor alone, I like Baker Mayfield a lot more than I like Carolina's quarterback at this point, even though he struggled a bit of late. I just think Tampa Bay with Mike Evans back, I like the Bucs here in this spot. I just think that they're a better team on paper. They'll show that they're a better team overall. They've had more big game experience over the last couple years, meaningful games late in the year, I should say, as compared to Carolina, and I think that will pay dividends in this matchup for the Tampa Bay Bucs.
All right, so the Buccaneers, the call there for Ross, the boss. Another Florida team and a surprise, the Jacksonville Jaguars. What a year they've had. They're out in Denver against the Broncos, 4:05 on Sunday. The Broncos laying 3 at home, Ross.
Yeah, everybody keeps waiting for the Broncos to fall apart, right? And to fall down, and they just keep going. And, look, I just think they carry the momentum here. They got their sights set on a number 1 seed. Now that New England went down last week against Buffalo, this is a team that's won 11 in a row. They're undefeated at home this year. As a matter of fact, going back to last year, I believe they've won 12 straight at home. I got to go with the Broncos here. I know Jacksonville's having a great year, and they're a good team. And I like the way they played. They've won 5 in a row. But I just think going against Denver at home as a short favorite, and with the kind of win streaks they put together overall, and right there at the old Mile High Stadium, I think that Denver is the player, Sam.
All right, the Pittsburgh Steelers will be in Detroit. This is the national game Sunday afternoon, 4:25. Lions at home, laying 7 to the Steelers. Again, lots on the line here for both these teams, Ross. Break it down, Detroit, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh's a fraud, and I'm going to stick with that. They're hanging in there. They look like they're going to possibly win the division, but they're doing it with smoke and mirrors. And the Lions, coming off a loss, 41-34 last week. You look at the Lions, they haven't lost 2 games in a row at all. at all this season, I should say. And they're playing at home where they're 5-2 and they dominate a lot of times at home. I just think this is one of those games that the Lions jump on them early, and Pittsburgh is just not built to come from behind. They have very little of a running game. Their passing game doesn't scare anybody. Aaron Rodgers still is a solid quarterback, but he's nowhere near the superstar type quarterback he was in years past. I like the Detroit Lions here, latest 7 over Pittsburgh.
I like the Lions too as well. All right. I'm not going to ask you for a selection here. I know where your heart lies, but they have to play this game. It's on the schedule. Yeah. Buffalo at Cleveland, 1 o'clock Sunday. The Bills anywhere from 10 to 10.5. The total 41.5. Ross, I said it on the show yesterday. I wish I had the audio clip. I would play it for you right now. For the first time in 4 years, I truly believe this team is going to the Super Bowl this year. I think everything. I think the path is clear for them.
Well, you got Kansas City out of the way, right? And Baltimore is soon to follow behind, possibly. So you would think this should be their year, but there's still some pretty good teams in New England and Denver yet. So having said all that, what's the weather going to be like Sunday in Cleveland? Because I'm not going to use this game. I'm going to tell you folks right up front, I am not taking money out of my pocket to put it on either side, even though Buffalo clearly the better team, right? But what's the weather, Sam?
You know what? It's going to be about 28, partly cloudy, no precipitation, wind 5 to 10 right now. But nothing crazy.
Factor, really. Nothing either team is not used to either.
Right.
So I know this sounds crazy, and I know, it's 10.5 is a lot to lay on the road, and especially in this situation for Buffalo. This is what scares me with laying 10.5 with Buffalo, who looks like the obvious play and is being heavily bet as we speak.
Right.
They're coming off a win against last week, that big win, come from behind win against New England, the division leader. The week before, they played the AFC North division leader, Pittsburgh, won that game handily. And now they go on the road to face Cleveland. I think if there's ever a flat spot here, this might be the time for Buffalo. But I still like them to win the game. I just not confident in covering that big number. Also, I think that they may come out flat, and as a result of everything I just said, and they're laying 6.5 in the first half of this game too. So you might want to look at the Cleveland Browns plus the 6.5 in the first half. But this is a game, there's much better value on the board than this game here. Even though Buffalo looks like don't forget, folks, if it looks too good to be true in sports betting, more times than not it is.
That's right. And what does Ross always say? Think like an odds maker. That's how you got to think. So absolutely. All right, Ross, one more time before you go, tell us about your Weekend Warrior package and your year package that you got up for everybody right now.
All right, my Weekend Warrior package you can get at my personal link at wagertalk.com. That's wt.buzz/RB, wt.buzz/RB. Again, NFL on a 20-9 run. College football number 3 this year. And also, since 2023 college football season started, I'm number 1 in win percentage and units earned at wagertalk.com. All professional sports handicappers there. NBA on a nice 63% run since the end of last season. And so you're going to get everything, NBA, college basketball, NFL, and college football, Saturday and Sunday, including 5% best bets. If there are any, there might be at least one. And you're going to get that all for just $49. And then the 365-day all-access pass, you're going to need to use this special link, I should say, wt.buzz/Ross365. Normally $19.99. Right now, you can get it for $1,188. It's every premium pick I put out in all sports that I cover, which are just the mainstream sports. And you're going to get an entirety of it, 365 days with that package. If I pass on a day, we add an additional day to your package. So take advantage of $811 off the normal price. And again, WT.buzz/Ross365, like you're seeing on the screen right now. Thank you, Sam.
Let's go. Get on board with the Ross and make a little money and have a little fun while you're doing it. Ross Benjamin, we always appreciate you. Glad to hear about the health news. You're rocking and rolling now, my friend. Good luck this week. Due to the holidays and stuff, we'll have to maybe work out some scheduling the next couple of weeks because of Christmas and New Year's. But we'll get you on here and we'll plow through this together. Okay.
All right, buddy. You just let me know. Literally plow through.
Ross, there he goes. Ross Benjamin. Check him out at wagertalk.com.